To the top left-hand side of the map from Sidestorm Gaming, it's our Red Terran player. Give it up if you cheer it on, GuMiho! Bottom right-hand side, our Pink Protoss player. Some say he's the best. It is Zest, our Home Story Cup 15 champion. Took down GuMiho in the round of 8 there. 3 games to 2, a stellar series that kicked off day 4 of the Home Story Cup. Milky in the chat hitting us up with that 26-month resub. Can we get some Wardy hearts up in here for Milky? Thank you so much for that 26-month resub. Do appreciate all the love. Get some Wardy hearts up in here and show some love for a long-time supporter of our stream. Of course, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget, well, obviously we're going to be live with StarCraft. I've actually just been doing the scheduling. We're live with StarCraft every day for the foreseeable future, more or less. It's going to be an extremely busy month for us. The only day we're not going to be streaming StarCraft on this next kind of few days is going to be Sunday because Shoutcraft Kings is on. But other than that, we're going to be live pretty much every single day. We have a new event kind of coming up in the near future that's going to be announced in the next few days. That's going to be exciting. September is going to be really exciting as well. I've got a couple of really exciting stuff, exciting things going on in September now. September just seems to get more and more awesome. It's really crazy. So that's coming up. That's starting to happen. And that'll be next month, of course. Well, so it's going to be very busy here on the stream. So if you're enjoying, do hit that follow button. Let me know what's up. Let me know how you're doing as well in the chat, of course, if you are in here. And of course, if you're really enjoying the stream, plenty of ways for you guys to support. You can subscribe, which is a great way to get yourself replay packs of these events. You get yourself a first replay pack of this month will be going out in just a few days' time on probably Sunday. So that's going to be happening Sunday, so you can get yourselves replay packs and just so much more in general. So do check out that subscription button if it seems to take your fancy. Obviously, outside of that, you can check us out and support in other ways too. But for now, let's talk this PvT, because this is a 2-gas opening and 1 base play from Zest here in Game 1 of the series. And again, considering that this is a 6-worker start that we're playing with, it does mean that this kind of early aggression is a bit more viable, and it's a bit more committed as well. You can't just proxy a Stargate and have the money to just throw down your Nexus so soon afterwards, you know, right away. So that is something to keep in mind right now, as Zest throws the Stargate down. Proxy Oracle it will be to try and take a lead here in Game 1. I know that some of the Terran players said they actually like the 6-worker start when it comes to actually being able to scout a bit more, because it gives you more time to scout and react to what is happening, and just to kind of figure out what's going on as well, although it looks as though in this game, GuMiho doesn't need any time at all to figure out what's happening. Finds the proxy Stargate instantly, probably because of the direction that probe came in from, and now Zest is in a little bit of trouble, because this pylon will not last long enough to get an Oracle out with this Reaper shelling away at it and throwing grenades down every now and then. Already a new probe is on the way to the top side of the map, but is it going to get there in time to build a pylon? How long is the Oracle off of this Stargate going to be delayed by? I guess we'll find out real soon. It's going to be pretty close actually. 30 seconds for the Oracle, plus the Corona Boost obviously speeds it up a little bit. But that pylon's already on 120 health and dropping, now sub 100. This Oracle, I think Oracle might just about come out in time. It's super close. Love this by GuMiho, in position to stop this probe from doing too much here. And he is going to block the pylon. He does kill the pylon and gets away before the Adept can kill him. GuMiho found this pretty much as fast as possible. And he didn't waste any seconds at all to get here and do damage. And he just gets the pylon before being forced to leave. So obviously the first Oracle delayed, and that just gives GuMiho so much time to prepare against this. He'll just not try and defend the natural too much here initially, and he does have Marines, bunkers, and all sorts. Widow Mines on the way up as well to help him continue to defend this over the next few moments. Marines still just gathering up together here. As we do see the Oracle just going to come in and fight these Marines. There's only 5 of them in position, and so the Oracle can win that fight. As then he flies into the Widow Mine though, turns back around. Oh, there's a Marine in the bunker, which I don't think Zest realized. I think if he realizes there's a Marine in the bunker, he wouldn't commit into that there. He would actually just back away, back away. But for the Marine in the bunker, he loses the Oracle, and that is an expensive cost so far. As we see, the second Oracle will pop shortly. Reaper just checking to see if it is another Oracle. It's actually good to know, because if it was a Void Ray on the way up, it does change the way in which he'd follow up with this. Back at home, Zest going to follow up with a Dark Shrine. He went straight into that Twilight Council, still on 1 base here. So straight into the Twilight Council, straight into the Dark Shrine, as that Adept will kill the Reaper, but not before it sees the lack of expansion. And obviously GuMiho will now know that it's a long time to be without an expansion for, and what could that possibly mean from Zest? Why would he still not have an expansion in this game? What's taking him so long to expand here? And that's why GuMiho is going to just throw the scan down. He's going to scout the Dark Shrine, and right away he knows what's up, he knows what's happening. I mean, it's just perfect scan for him, sees everything he does, and obviously from here you can just begin to react once again. Engineering Bay has already started it pretty much immediately when he saw that Dark Shrine. As we're going to be seeing the Viking just pushing back that Oracle a little bit here. A few Adepts will shade on forwards, try and potentially push up this ramp. See what they can do. Meanwhile, Medevac loads up and comes over to the right hand side where it will unload and try and pick away at a few of, well, at this pylon. Green is going to be doing pretty well against these Adepts. One goes down, just trying to continue fighting. Viking will land as well, though. As, again, Stargate unpowered. And with the pylon going down, I mean, Zest has to open his DTs back at home, and considering this turret's already on the way up, doesn't look as though Zest is going to find very much damage with this. Zest really just in so much trouble this game. As GuMiho building into a siege tank, I feel as though we'll probably just see an aggressive push out of GuMiho in the next few moments. You know, set up into us as we see DT blink from Zest. That's when you know things are becoming a little bit ridiculous. And kind of, you know, really kind of just win in any sort of way. Really just trying anything to win, I guess. Desperate times, desperate measures is the motto of Zest base right now. His natural will finish up, but again, he's behind on workers against a double Mule Terran player, who is going to have just so much eco because of that. He's actually saving up scans instead of muling so that he can push across the map and fight against the DTs of Zest, which he might send in one at a time to try and fight against this army. DTs are actually great units defensively against a Terran player, because if the Terran doesn't have scans, obviously they start to do quite a lot. These DTs here right now, though, they're starting to swipe, but the scan comes down already. Nice save on the siege tank at least. Not enough Marines to fight this, though, so actually Zest will buy himself some time. These DTs, not a single one goes down with that used scan right there, so that's a pretty big deal. That's some nice play by Zest so far, and actually, right now, this is really nice for him. GuMiho will return with more of these Marines, which will make this sort of DT play a little bit risky, as we see now Marines dropping down, but another scan used and doesn't kill a DT still. Zest is doing such a good job with these. It's actually somewhat surprising how much he's getting done. No scan? No scan. That means the tanks are going to have to start picking up. This tank's running away, though the Medevac goes for it, but there's a Marine which is blocking it from being picked up. Obviously, Marines are more expendable than siege tanks here. As we see, the turret does finish, and that will be Zest forced away. But still, he's free Dark Templar. What a way to get back in the game. 5, 4, and 5 kills. That's 14 kills between them. Really not bad. Stalker's coming across the map now as well. It's DT Blink that's about to finish. And I guess the idea is he wants to try and blink on top of those siege tanks ASAP to get rid of them, while the rest of the units just try and break through the Marines, etc. No stim pack or anything just yet. It's a plausible way to play this, as long as you can get rid of those siege tanks. And again, that's what the DT Blink will be designed to do right now. The only problem is for Zest, he does not have really anything kind of in a great position to warp in from, so he has to warp in from his own side of the map. He didn't even bring a probe across the map. As DT Blink finishes, these Stalkers are positioned as though they want to blink into the main, but I mean, is he just trying to scare GuMiho here? I imagine he is, to give the DTs a chance to blink forwards onto the tanks. Oh my god, it's working. GuMiho sort of pulls up into the main. DTs will just go straight onto the tanks. Didn't even need to blink forwards here just yet. 2 tanks go down. And they do have that blink now, remember, and so they'll blink away. DTs from Zest are doing kind of good so far, man. These DTs are absolute saviors. GuMiho might be about to have some nightmares of when he lost a nightmare in GSL to blink DT. This is not going well for him at all right now. Stalkers will commit in. The problem with Zest is time is running out. Stimpack, +1, and Combat Shields are all finishing/finished very recently or in the very near future. And that's obviously something which will not go on forever, I suppose, is the best way to say it. You know, he can't continue to play like this if these upgrades are coming into play. That Terran army is going to become so powerful. And Zest, realizing this, is already backing away with a whole chunk of his Stalkers back over to the right-hand side of the map. Top GuMiho will just load up 2 Medevacs and Marines to start using these upgrades. Boost them across the map and see what he can do. Zest falls back to the third base, which he's set up behind this attack. As his DT is still trying to do a bit more. Nice blink away. Yeah, DT blink's kind of cool, you know, when you get the opportunity to actually use it in a game, like legitimately. It is pretty neat. It's just it takes such a long time to set up that upgrade and so on. It's crazy. So we're going to be seeing Stalkers here do find those medevacs. Not enough of them to really fight, though. Obviously, most of the fighting force here from Zest is actually in DTs, which are on the map at the moment. So we're going to see this third Nexus, which he invested into. Well, it's dropping so quickly. That +1 attack of the Marines shreds their way through the Nexus. It falls very swiftly here, and he's even going to keep on chasing forwards. Immediately, we're going to see the center of the Guardian Shield going down. Stalker's going down too. Zealot's being chased. I mean, there isn't any upgrades on any of these, gateway units. He doesn't have any. What a scan as the DC's playing forwards. You'll be able to kite away from them. I mean, it was just kind of the perfect timing to scan. Gets a couple of those DTs. I mean, you just can't do anything with these. Oh, you actually picked up a full medevac. You can't do anything with these gateway units, though, against Bio with Stim, etc., if you don't have the Twilight upgrades, and that's exactly what Zest is missing here. No blink to keep Stalkers alive. There is no charge to close the gap between these units. As we see, the DTs try and blink away defensively right now. It realistically is not going to be enough. And Zest played a great game to try and come back in it after his early aggression really failed. He played a great game to try and come back into. To be fair, we see the other gamers doing it as well. In the off season, League of Legends changes up the map a little bit sometimes, stuff like that. Makes some major changes. I think it's a good chance to kind of in the off season test out major changes on the ladder when there's not massively major tournaments going on all the time, like there is right now. Right now it's GSL, then it's WCS, and then by the suddenly it's BlizzCon. Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they do. Maybe even introduce a new unit. Like, it sounds crazy, but I really think it would go really well if they were to like introduce a new unit or for each race with another patch. Like, I know the game is kind of great right now, but that's the sort of stuff that actually will bring people back to the game and stuff. I remember when that patch you're talking about, the big patch that was like they changed a lot of stuff. I remember when they launched that patch, all of the streamers who streamed like playing StarCraft 2 had a huge boost in viewership because everyone was super interested to see the patch and to see how the TT blink was going to play and stuff like that. I really hope they do it again because I think it would be very good just in general for the ecosystem of StarCraft 2. I think it'd be pretty awesome. Alright. Game 2 of this series, guys, an OG6 start number 4, the Korean edition. As we have to the bottom right hand side, our pink Protoss player. Give it up, guys, if you're going to be cheering on the beautiful Zest. Bottom left hand side is going to be our blue Terran. Blue? How did I get that? Our red Terran player from Sidestorm Gaming, GuMiho. OG6 starts for OGaming 6 start because the players start with 6 workers in this series of tournaments, which is ran by OGaming. It's a tournament this is the 4th edition, and this is being called the Korean edition. This is the first time we've got Koreans playing. I believe it was Denver, the victor of the first one over Raynor. Beastie Cutie won the second one, I think. Cyril won the third one. There's been some really good matches in this tournament series, and they've been playing out for the last 3-4 months. It's been a fun one to follow. It's a bit different. I really do have to say, like, I know I repeat myself a lot saying this, but it really is a cool balance of changing something, but keeping it close enough to what StarCraft 2 is right now to keep people interested in watching. Because a lot of the time, if you do something weird and quirky and like change the game so that it isn't actually just straight up normal StarCraft, you lose a good chunk of viewership. Because of the fact people are just like, well, I don't really want to watch it, I just want to watch normal games. I just want to watch people like, I'll just go watch GSL to watch my StarCraft. Like, sure, some people find it interesting, but it doesn't really offset the people you uninterest with it. But with a 6-worker start, it changes up a little bit of the game early, but as time goes by, it does just look like very standard, very standard metagame of StarCraft 2 right now. So it's very, very good. It's very cool. It's a cool way to make things interesting and change things up a bit, keep it fresh, to have a fun little different tournament format, while still allowing everyone to really enjoy the games and the matches. And it's been very cool to see how kind of 6 workers plays out against 12 workers. As so much changed in Legacy of the Void. We've had this discussion in previous OG 6 start events, where we've had we've had the discussion of why did we ever change it to 12 workers in the first place? Why 12? Why not 10? Why not 8? If you want to speed the early game up a bit, why not start with 9 workers, and then all of a sudden you've got the early game sped up a bit, but you also don't have the crazy amount of economy which pretty much forces you to expand every single game it makes it more of a choice in the early game, and that is what I like about the 6-worker start. It does feel like there's more of a choice to your build orders compared to Legacy of the Void right now with 12 workers, which is you expand every game, because why wouldn't you expand every game? You have the money to. Very rarely do you see one base player nowadays. It's been a very heavily discussed topic, and there's lots of positives and negatives, and those are just a couple of my own that I like to share. Game is starting up and starting to get active though. We see the Widow Mine drop coming in across the map. As we're going to be seeing the Widow Mine just going to go off on the Mothership Core. It's not a bad thing until he loses the Mothership Core. Now that's a really bad thing. Mothership Core goes down as the Oracle will come in here and just do a little bit of nibbling away at a few of those units. Medevac will boost up in towards the natural, and the Oracle still have Pulsar Beam active. We'll try and help clean up as you see now 2 Hellions running into the main, and oh no, what's going on? Zest is, well, yes, a Phoenix out to try and help defend this. Does he get those 2 probes? He doesn't get the probes. That's nice, but actually they're still in danger here. This Hellion still around. Widow Mine repositions to the right side. He does kill the Widow Mine. GuMiho doesn't target down the lower health probes. They regenerate, and now GuMiho will get cleaned up. He will get cleaned up, so that's nice. Really good defense from Zest in the end. What did he lose? The Mothership Core? Considering he lost the Mothership Core without doing anything with it, this really changed. You know, this really actually became somewhat decent for Zest, I have to say. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. Alright, well that was fun. As we get set to go into the next stage of the game, which is just going to be a Terran player building up into extra racks now that he is set up onto a natural expansion. Zest, though, definitely an elite there. I mean, he didn't lose too much. He kills off absolutely everything, and he had a faster expansion before all of that as well. So, this is what I mean. Like, in Legacy, you know, with a 12-worker start, this sort of build from GuMiho would have been done with a CC coming up as well. And with that CC coming up, that's really nice to get rid of the Widow Mine here. So you can actually move a probe out to take a third. That's real clever. That was so sick by Zest, I have to say. You know, it's one of these things that, you know, this wouldn't be kind of, you know, it's bad for GuMiho if he loses that medevac and everything. But now it's really bad for him because he really committed to do that. Whereas in 12-worker starts, that's a build you can do just off of the expansion. La-di-da, don't really care. You can commit to those Hellions and everything. But that doesn't happen on 6-workers. So it does change some things up in interesting ways. Old eco was made to base all-ins way too good because he had enough eco to do multiple waves without ever expanding. That's why I think it's interesting to test 6-workers with 1500 minerals and 9 minerals. So not with that many, you know, minerals per base, like which caused the issue last time around, but to actually kind of make it so that we still just start with 6-workers. Anyways, let's set up into this and see what will happen and actually talk about the game a bit more. I'm getting carried away talking about all this stuff as we see the Twilight Council and the Forge dropping down here on the natural expansion. A whole bunch of Phoenix from Zest going to start moving out over to the left hand side, see what they can get up to, see what they can get done. A whole bunch of Marines from GuMiho as well. They're going to come up through the top side of the map and see what they can get up to. As again, these Phoenix are going to, well, initially lift up an SCV. It's a nice pick off already. And still just looking around these Phoenix to see what else they can get up to. Marine pops out, moves over to the side. There's one medevac to the south, 4 Marines inside of it. GuMiho just looking to apply some pressure while moving forwards with quite the Marine force. What does Zest have to defend? He's so heavy on Phoenix right now. His gamer units are more or less non-existent. Only 2 Stalkers, a Sentry and a Zealot. And Zest is going to look to lose the 3rd base here. I mean, what can he really do to defend? He's got this position where he's got Phoenix, which they're just not going to be able to do enough, I don't think. And you can see already Stasis Ward defensively on the natural. He is not intending to defend that 3rd Nexus right now. By the way, Mothership Core was never rebuilt from losing it in the early stages of the game. As we'll see, the Phoenix will come in and just lift these Marines. That will be the end of all those, and the Medevac 2 should be chased down. Well, maybe not to death, actually, because he can just bring it to these Marines over here, and they will be able to protect the Medevac. Is it going to be in time? It's going to be very close. Zest wants it. Wow, 1 shot away from getting rid of it there. Revelation on the Marines to keep track of them. As GuMiho at home, still just building to all these Marines. The stim pack and combat shields and +1 attack are done. It's a stage of the game where the Terran player really does become kind of the strongest he gets to be at any sort of specific point of the game, I suppose. You know, those upgrades finishing just make that Bio Force so powerful and versatile. As it kicks in initially, before the process a lot of time to prepare against it, it really is very a very powerful way of playing things. So it's interesting to see what GuMiho will end up doing here. As we see him actually losing a whole bunch of reinforcements. Those Phoenix doing a good job, picking up on a lot of these already. However, now they fly back over, stimmed Marines. 3 Phoenix go down. All of a sudden, this isn't as good a trade for Zest. He catches a whole chunk of units in the stasis ward, and he'll be able to take an engagement on these if he wants to in a few moments. As you see, the Marines going to stim in from the other side, though, and that's going to actually create maybe a bit of a disadvantageous engagement here for Zest. You're going to see the Oracle coming in from the Medivac, sorry, in the left-hand side. What was an Oracle for a moment with the beam? So you see the Medivac coming in and evacuating a few units. These Marines going to go down as well. Zest still makes this work out for him. Wasn't as pretty as it maybe should have been, though. Maybe it should have looked a little bit different to this. Just a little bit. Sentry warps in on the 3rd Nexus. We are just going to be seeing, in the meantime, well, everything else still on the way up and just sort of building up in towards it. I mean, we see +1 on the way now from Zest. He's going to be playing heavily disadvantaged when it comes to upgrades. So I wonder what his plan is to kind of make up for that. Usually we don't see a Protoss player this far behind on upgrades, as we do see the Phoenix. Again, just trying to find some openings here and there. GuMiho with a 3rd CC to finish building shortly. I do like it. Like, you know, this is one of the things I like about the 6-worker opening. For me, this really feels as though the mid-game and the mid-game is really separated from the early game. Like, I like it when the players don't just rush up to the 3rd base super easily, when there's a little bit more action before the 3rd base comes down. So often nowadays, in so many of the matchups, a 3rd base is just a given. You know, when do you see in, TvZ, you take a 3rd CC in position half the time as a Terran player, like, it's just something you do at like 4 minutes. There's no build-up to that. There's no kind of big, he's maybe going to build up and take a 3rd CC. It just happens so early. PVT, Protoss throw down a Nexus like 4 minutes. It happens so early in the game, there's no build up to that. You're just straight up like running into so much eco. And again, it's not every game, but so often it does happen, and it really does. I think that's one of the things I like about 6-worker start. It actually does sometimes slow down in, the advance into the mid game sometimes. I think that's neat. I like that. Anyways, a large drop into the main base here. GuMiho will boost on in, and he's just going to come in and start working his way through a whole bunch of these probes. Already doing some pretty good damage. A lot of probes going down, as we see a Widowmine going to burrow as well. A couple pylons already being picked off also. Nice Widowmine hits on the Zealots. You're going to be seeing, well, does he target the Phoenix down? He does, try and get some of the rest of his units to be dropped back down. Kills another pylon. Marauder's doing a great job tanking. Now the Marines will turn and fight against some of the Zealots. Still enough Phoenix to chase this away. As GuMiho will just try and boost away to do whatever he can, make the most of these Marines. And he will just try and, I guess, target down a couple of probes now. Great trade, though. A lot of Phoenix going down for those medevacs. I mean, that's something you got to be happy with. Meanwhile, 5 workers have gone down the 3rd base. That Widowmine drop just coming in while Zest was distracted and getting absolutely great value from it. And GuMiho, again, just playing so well so far in the 2nd game of the series. He's already up by 1. He wins this, of course. He's already through to the semi-finals and into the prize money for this event. As you see the Zealots, Archons, and the Phoenix setting up and getting ready to go. Obviously, Zest here has had another being attacked. Gonna go and be aggressive himself, but meanwhile, another couple kills on these Widowmines. GuMiho with a drop towards the main as well. And by the way, still no Mothership Core rebuild from Zest. It's almost as though he forgot he lost it at the start of the game, forgot he could build a new one. We're going to be seeing another few Phoenix just left behind. Zest realizing this attack isn't brilliant for him. He backed away, but again, those Phoenix were just left, and a bunch of them fell, as we're going to be seeing Marines getting lifted up once again. Now going to turn back around towards the natural, perhaps. Zest continue to come through the center. See what else he can do. GuMiho is kind of forcing Zest to kind of pay attention at home anyways. This drop has been so successful for him already. So much damage being done here as these Phoenix going to jump on top of that medevac, doing a whole chunk of damage. And we've seen the Zealots. The rest of these units going to come on in as well and just clean up a few more of those Marines. So again, good damage done here by GuMiho. Finally, Zest cleans it up, but I mean, finally really is the word. It took him forever to get rid of all of that. As we now see GuMiho to the top side with some Marines and Marauders. And he's going to be joined up by the rest of his army here in the next few moments. As we see, Zealots again just picking off another few units. into the center for GuMiho. As we just set up, wait to see what will happen. I guess just a big push to maybe end the game right now as he starts to burrow these Widow Mines. He's going to interject himself between the natural and the third base. And that's going to be difficult for Zest to deal with. He's actually on the third, which means they push up into the natural. He's going to kill some real tech structures here. I mean, already the Robo, the Templar Archives. Silent will tank it, will kite in and kind of come in for the flank. He's going to see the Marine Marauder. Just too much of it here. High Templar don't have Storm. They'll try and feed back some medevacs, but that will really be all they'll get to do. Another stim from GuMiho will just continue to clean this up. These Archons are going to more or less die before they even get a chance to attack. GG from Zest. He'll drop down to the decider match here today, as GuMiho is going to be our first player to advance on through out